There's three ways to evaluate a property. One is from comps, the MLS. It's like type properties that have sold. The second one is the replacement cost. What would it cost you to buy the lot? What would it cost you to build the house? What would it cost you to get the house completely done and get it on the market to where it's finished? And the third one is going in and using the income approach. Income approach means looking at what the property brings in versus what it costs.
Hey! Hey everybody, welcome to the most Dwanderful real estate podcast ever. And look who I have today. I'm an awesome husband, Bill Twyford.
Good.
And I am Dwan and Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor.
And I'm just her husband.
You can go to my website, Dwanderful, DWANDERFUL, Dwanderful.com. Opt in, you get a free ebook. And it's Flip Your Way to a Fortune. And Bill is Bill Twyford, the real estate rock star.
Yeah. It kind of look like I'm from REO Speedwagon or something.
You look like the real estate rock star. Sexy. And he's at investorsedgeuniversity.com. So the motto here at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that's something that resonates with you, then this is the right place, it's the right time, and we are the right people. So let's have a drink. So we start off, we have a drink. We have a toast.
Shit.
So cheers, everybody. Cheers. Grab yourself a drink. And then we take a big stretch and a deep breath. And we shake off all the negativity.
I don't have any negativity in my life or stress.
Hey, you're on my podcast. This is how we do it.
Okay.
And then we say hi. So thank you for being on the show with me today, babe.
Oh, honey, I'm just so glad to be on the show with you.
I'm always excited when you come on. Look how great he's looking, guys. Look at this. Yes. The Bill Twyford.
Soft skin.
And I have to tell you, ever since the stem cell transplant, his skin is on his face, arms, and legs. It's so soft. It totally pisses me off. So
now, if for some reason I end up with lipstick on here, I don't know how that happens, but see, I didn't get there. It is. There's the lipstick. Get that off. How do you turn that off?
I don't know.
Seriously?
I haven't. There it is. I haven't set in my Zoom. I haven't set in my Zoom filter. So if I ever jump on a call, it gives me lipstick, but I don't know how to take it off. So I think if as long as I sit a little more forward, I get it instead of him.
So if I get talking, lipstick goes on, sit there and laugh at me all you want. I'm not going to worry about it.
But I have to jump on a lot of calls, and I don't always have any makeup on, so
Me too.
I put lipstick on. All right, listen, we are going to talk about
what are we going to talk about?
How to estimate the ARV in 3 steps.
That's the
Go ahead.
That's the after repaired value. So if you've got a house that's worth $200,000, if you've got a house that's worth $200,000.
See that camera?
I see that
Look
camera.
There.
I see that camera. So if you've got a house worth $200,000 and the homeowners owe $150,000, there's that lipstick.
I don't know how to get it back. There you go.
And the homeowner owes $150,000 and it needs $30,000 worth.
Okay, say it again. Let me write the numbers down. Say it again.
Okay, $200,000 house.
Okay.
Homeowner owes $150,000.
$200,000 house. They owe $150,000.
And it needs $30,000 to be fixed up.
And it needs $30,000.
Okay, they'll have $180,000 in it, but the after repaired value is $200,000.
Right.
So they'll have $20,000 in equity on paper. but that doesn't mean they'll have equity like they sell it. There goes Thread Lives.
That's okay. Just keep talking. That's not.
I have a hard time looking at myself with lipstick on.
Well, if you look at the
I hate
camera,
to
you won't
say.
be looking at yourself.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So anyway, so they would have $20,000 on paper of equity. Okay, and what do
So
I
they are
mean by on paper?
150. Things 30 and work, which is 180.
180.
House is worth 200.
200
As the
after
ARV,
repaired
repair
value.
value. Okay,
Okay, it's not worth 200 now.
right.
It's worth basically about 170. Okay, so the after repaired value would be 200,000. Okay, and that's because you had to put $30,000 in it. Okay, God, this is terrible.
Just keep talking. I can't figure out how to get it on. My
Yeah.
team showed me how to put it on, and I don't know how to get it on.
God,
So just
why did the
focus,
only stress I have in my life is this kind of stuff.
look at me and talk to me, and then you won't notice that your
Do
lips
you know
are
how
pink.
many memes are going to come up with me with lipstick on?
Oh, that'd be fun. Okay, everybody start a Bill Twyford meme.
Thanks a lot. So you can't get rid of that lipstick. I'm just going to go with it. So I'm just calling it out right
That's the
now.
meme with long hair and jewelry.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, there's 3 ways to evaluate a property. One is from comps, the MLS. Okay, God, this lipstick drives me nuts. I just see that. One, the MLS, that's comps, that's like type properties that have sold. Now, here's the thing I want you guys to realize is a distressed property is not a like type property. Okay, a distressed property, a homeowner that's behind in payments, a homeowner that's going through divorce, going through bankruptcy, whatever the distress is, loss of a job, that might have been sold below market value to get out of their situation. And if that's the case, then it's not what we call a like type sale. Okay, so when you have houses on the market, you have houses that are selling retail from the MLS. And when somebody does an appraisal or they do what they call a comparative market analysis, a CMA, they're going to look at like type properties. So if there's a property that was sold from distress, then what you're going to find out is that's not a property you're going to look at for a like type comp. However, if you're buying, you want to look at those because they're less of a sales price when they sell those. Okay, so the first one of the 3, the first one is going in comparable sales. Okay,
comparable
you get
sales.
those, you get that from the MLS. The second one is the replacement cost. What would it cost you to buy the lot? What would it cost you to build the house? What would it cost you to get the house completely done and get it on the market to where it's finished? What would it cost you to do that? That is the replacement cost. That's a way that you can look at the value. When you have a market going up, okay, when the market's going up, the replacement cost is cheaper than the price the house is selling for. That's why builders build a lot of speculation homes when the market's going up. When the market's going down, what you'll find out is the replacement cost is higher than the price. It's cheaper to buy a home than it is to replace it and build it all brand new.
Right.
Okay. Then the third one is going in. So the first one's comps, MLS. The second one is going in replacement cost. And the third one is going in and using the income approach. The income approach.
Now explain that to people. What income approach means.
Income approach means looking at what the property brings in versus what it costs.
What it could bring in, like as rent.
As rent, what it brings in cash.
Or an Airbnb.
Or Airbnb.
Lease with the option to buy.
Yep. or subject to just becoming a landlord and just just going in and renting the property out. Now, here's the great thing about the income approach. The income approach, you use that a lot when you're buying multifamily.
Yeah.
You use that a lot when you're buying, duplex, triplex, things like that, quads, 16 units, 24, stuff like that. The income approach. What does it bring in? What's the income? What are the expenses? Okay. How much is the management fee? What is the taxes? Okay. So we want to know what all that stuff is when we're trying to figure out how much profit that brings in. We like to buy rentals with what we call a 2% per month is what we want gross. So 2% a month, meaning that if you've got $100,000 house, you want it to bring in $20,000 a year. Okay. That's 20%. Sorry. That's $2,000 a month. You want 100,000 house bringing in $2,000 a month gross.
Right.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that back out, and the expenses when it comes to the taxes, the insurance, the management, all of that, all the expenses, we're taking it out, and we like to net 1% of the value of the property every single month. Positive cash flow.
That's a really easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. You just look at 2% of the value of the property. That's what it should bring in. You times that by 12. That's $100,000 property should bring in $24,000 a year.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, before expenses.
And I know everybody has their own way. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do with the lips. I know everybody has all these like fancy. Here's a cap rate. Here's this. Here's that. Oh, you have get my secret formula that no one on the face of the earth has to figure out what your stuff is. But we just take 2%.
Yeah, that's what we do. 2% gross.
It's easy. You can figure the math up in your head.
1%
You
net.
can do it while you're standing right there at the property. Okay, the $400,000 house.
Yeah, $400,000 house should bring in $80,000 a year. $400,000 house.
Right.
And gross. Net should bring in 40,000, which is, what is that? About $3,000 a month. 400,000 a house.
Yeah, that's about right.
About right. That's what it should be.
That is about right. So it's a really easy way to calculate. So do that too. So a lot of people do always ask, like, how do I estimate the ARV? How do I estimate? And again, a lot of people have formula. You can certainly do cap rates. Like there's so many different things.
Yeah.
But everything to us is what we'll sell for, what's the cost to replace it, and what is the income.
Yeah.
So when you take those three things, you can look at every single property, and you can also look at every property from all three of those angles.
Yeah, you look at some of these multi-million-dollar houses, in the United States, whether it's Hollywood or New York or Florida, wherever it's at, Las Vegas, you get a 50,000 square foot house, like a house that Mike Tyson had. You can get a 50,000 square foot house that, they'll sell for $22 million or $16 million. There's no way in hell you can replace that for that price. No. It's just cost too much to build something like that with all of the labor, the materials, all the specialty things that are in there. So you just, the higher the price homes, I mean, if you really look at it, there's a property in New York, a multi-unit property in New York that sold for $79 million like 10 years ago. Then it went in and sold it was valued $126 million. Well, that property was in distress and just sold for $13 million.
Wow.
And there's no way you can replace that property.
No, we should have bought that.
That property's $100 million property to build. Yeah. It's like when Donald Trump bought down in the financial district. He bought like a 70-story building, something like that down there for $1 million. And now it's worth about $300 million. Mm-hmm. He put about $100 million into it. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He went against the wave. Back in the 90s, when everybody was just dropping and selling things, he just went in and went against the current and bought when people were selling. And that's exactly what you have that's coming up. You have a lot of people running from the market. When people are running from the market, that's when you have to be running to the market. Okay. You just have to be doing the opposite of whatever everybody else is doing, because, if you're doing what they're doing, you're going to get what they've got. And most people that we know, I don't want what they have.
It's true.
So it just
So another
is what
thing
it is.
is when you're trying to establish the ARV on a property, you can use all three of these. They don't. One house may not have the replacement value. It may have the income or not have the income. It may have the sales price or not have the sales price. But you don't have to have all three of these things lined up to make something a good deal.
Yeah.
It could be a house like we have people deed us houses subject to all the time, and maybe someone
So
deeds you.
explain what subject to is.
Well,
Just
see, if
real
ever
quick.
watched my podcast, they've seen me do a bunch of sessions on subject to. But the bottom line is when a homeowner deeds the house to you,
Turns over the ownership.
their name's on the mortgage, your name is on the deed,
Yeah.
and they just deed their house over to you, and you start making payments and you take over the property.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of people
We've done a
that
lot
have
of
deeded
those.
us the subject to, and what they owed on the house was a little bit more than the value of the house as it was sitting on that day. But the income
Mhm.
was great. Like the income, if the income is higher than the house payment, it's a deal. Someone
like-
says, "Hey, I'm going
yeah.
to teach you my house." Well, I'll take it. I'll make it a subject to. I'll make it a rental. I'll make it this. I'll make it that. Whatever you want to do with it. But now, some of the things like on replacement costs, like for example, we own buildings.
Mhm.
So some of those you want to get the insurance to cover replacement cost because it could be an old building
Yeah, I got
that
one building.
would cost a
We
fortune
paid
to rebuild.
$350,000 for this building. Is 47,000 square foot. It's concrete walls, concrete ceilings, everything's concrete. It's like a bomb shelter. 47,000 square foot in a small little downtown in the Midwest, and replacement costs, and that's 5.2 million bucks.
Yeah.
We got it for 350.
Yeah.
So
So that one we're like, okay, well, it'll rent, it'll bring in a profit.
yeah,
If we sell it, can we sell it for a profit? Probably after we do a little work for it. But if we cover the insurance, hey, listen, just go with the lipstick.
I'm going with that. Well, you know what's going to happen
This
is
is
people are going to come on.
wonderful.
People are going to come on here halfway through and go, "The hell's this guy doing with lipstick?"
This is wonderful, and we just go with all the fun.
Okay.
You have
We'll
to
do
just
that.
be in the Dwanderful zone with me.
Oh no, the
You're
Dwanderful zone.
in the Dwanderful zone.
That is kind of like the Twilight Zone, isn't it?
It is like the
It
Twilight
is.
Zone, except you're
Oh,
stuck and you're
God.
living in it.
I'm living it.
So you can't get out. There's no way out. You're a veteran of the Twilight Zone.
I need the right color lipstick to get out. This
Well,
isn't
so,
it.
and that lipstick looks good on you too, by the way.
Oh my
See, now
God.
look at my lips. So pale looking.
Yeah. Look how much softer my skin is. Just messing.
They're not. His skin is so much softer than mine. It truly pisses me off.
Oh,
So it is really a big question. I mean, it's like every time we do a workshop, people are like, well, I want to buy this house. I don't know. And everyone thinks like they have to get some slam dunk. Like they have to find a $500,000 house where the homeowners owe $200,000.
Yeah.
And they have to get some major slam dunk. But it's like you need to start looking at your properties differently.
Everybody, and you know what? Everybody says real estate's all about location. Real estate's all about price. Real estate's all about, get out my pants. Real estate's all about, the condition of the house. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff in my book. Real estate to me is all about cash flow. Real estate to me is all about the homeowner's motivation that's in distress. Because you got a house that's worth $500,000, a homeowner owes $200,000 on it. Now think about this.
Yeah,
the house is worth 500. They owe 200,000. They're going to sale in 10 days. They get zero equity. Okay, they're not going to get it closed. They're going to have to work with a cash buyer that will probably offer them maybe $20,000 to $40,000 cash. That's it. Okay, so when you got a homeowner like that, everybody and their mother's chasing that person. But if you've got the same house in the same neighborhood that a homeowner refinanced out, pulled all their cash out, and owes 480,000, and the house is worth 500, nobody's chasing those guys.
No.
Okay, there's nobody's chasing those guys.
But those could be good subject twos.
Those are great, probably good subject twos, and you start looking at the numbers. You know, I've got a student that bought 3 houses in Bakersfield, California, and this was in 2012. And when they bought the house, that 3 houses, they just took them over. An older guy owned them. Give me that. Lay that down, woman. You're gonna get ink
I'm
all
not
over
gonna
my
get ink on
pants.
your pants. It's not my
All
first
right.
time.
She bought these 3 houses. The guy wanted to just sell them. He was in his high 70s. He owned them for like 10, 12 years. Most of the tenants were in there for 8 to 10 years. There was no problems with them. There were 3 houses. 2 were side by side. Another one was on one street over. And they were worth about $70,000 to $80,000 a piece, and they owed $120,000 on each house. $120,000, and they're worth $70,000. She says, "Well, I've got this deal. What do I do with it?" And I said, "Well, take them over." And she goes, "Yeah, but I'm gonna have to short sale him or something because he owes too much." I said, "Well, what are the payments on?" She goes, $675 on 2 of them and $700 on another one. I said, "Well, what do they rent for?" She says, $1,350 and $1,450. So you got 2 of them at $1,350 renting with payments of $675, and one of them with a payment of $700 is renting for $1,450. I said, "Okay, what's the question?"
Yeah.
I don't understand what the question is. Why would you not just take those houses
They're upside
over?
down in the value.
They're upside down
which is
in
what
the
everybody
value.
else looks at.
But this was in 2012. So I told her, I says, "If you don't want them, I'll take them and I'll give you $5,000. And immediately she says, "Well, if you want them, I'll take them." I said, "Okay." Because she goes, "You see something I don't see." And I said, "It's all about you're buying at the bottom of the market. Who cares what's owed on it versus the value? When the market's going up, this will appreciate. And you're paying this payment every month. It's going down, and your appreciation is taking it up."
And
Right
how much
now,
are they worth right now?
They're worth between 280 and 310, and she owes less than, oh God, less than 100,000 on each one. So she's got over $500,000 in equity, and she's made over $300,000 in cash flow over the past 11 years.
Because the income was there.
Yeah.
Not the sales price or not the rebuilding, the income.
Yeah, the income was there. So, you have 2 things you have to look at when you're looking at real estate. Appreciation is a hope and a dream. And that's how a lot of people get rich. I know a lot of people that have bought in California in the 60s and 70s, cracker boxes for $40,000 are now worth $800. So yeah, the appreciation will make you rich as long as you can play the game. If you can't play the game because you're cash poor, what happens is you won't be in the game long enough for the appreciation because you can't afford to keep it rolling. So you have to have the cash flow. The cash flow is the glue of the appreciation, is you have the cash flow to hang on to these properties. So when they do appreciate, you can either refinance and pull a little bit of tax-free money out. I wouldn't go any higher than 65 or 70 cents on the dollar. So if you've got $100,000 house and you only owe 30,000 on it, you want to refinance it, only refinance it to 65,000, pull out 35,000 cash. Other people may tell you different. However, I'm a little more conservative when it comes to that, because when a market comes down, sometimes it comes down 15, 18, 20, 25%. Well, $100,000 comes down 25,000. You owe 65,000 on a $75,000 house. So you're still okay. But the minute you borrow 90,000 on that house, and then all of a sudden the value is 75, now you're upside down.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put yourself in that position. Otherwise, you're in the long haul. It's like, real estate is like buying stock.
It's like marriage. You're in it for the long haul.
You're in it for the long haul. That's exactly right. So you're so cute. So the thing is, like buying a stock. If you buy a stock at $10 and it goes to $60, you sell it. You're going to pay tax on that income. However, if you buy the stock at 10 and then it goes down to 2, you're going to be like, okay, I'm in this thing for 10. I have to go out and hang on to it or take a loss. Now, my son went in one time and got into some crypto, and he lost 15,000 bucks in one day. And I said to him, I go, this is so exciting. And he was just holding his head like, how is this so exciting? I said, think of what you're going to learn by trying to make that $15,000 back. You're going to go in and buy this crypto, and then you're going to let it go up a little bit. You're going to sell it. You're going to make a small profit, but you're going to chisel away at that $15,000 to get back to zero, to get back to even, because he had like almost 2 Bitcoin. And he bought them. They went up to like 45,000. He bought them like at 28 or 30, went up to 45, and then dropped to like 19 or something. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm out so much money. I remember him driving home that day. I called him on the way home and I said, hey, bud, all this is a challenge. It's just God teaching you patience. And this you have to look at as a learning experience. It's not you lost 15 grand, because you know what? You don't lose until you quit.
That's right.
You don't lose till you quit. And I said, you can't quit. You can't sell. You can't do anything. I know somebody else that bought Bitcoin at 62,000. They put 50 grand in it. Their whole savings, 62,000. And what is it now? 27.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, with the lipstick on, I said, you can't sell. You got to hang on. You got to hold on, and you got to wait until you get back to zero. Right? And I mean, back to zero, back to where it's like 63 or $64,000 a coin. So it's the same in real estate, the same thing. This is why we invest a lot in the Midwest. We don't invest where it's high appreciation and all that, just because everything that goes up like this comes down like this. So you have to watch out for that. So what we do is we buy in safe zones that kind of go like this. They're just cash flow monsters. 50,000 houses that rent for $1,000 a month.
Okay.
You can't beat that.
So awesome tips today. So
how long do these go on?
We're going to wrap it right now. So how to estimate RAV in 3 steps, either the sales price, the replacement price, or the income. If you didn't understand some of the stuff, go back and listen again and listen again and listen again, and you'll get it. Because Bill, he's so smart. Oh. He knows so much, so he assumes you know as much as he does. But sometimes he covers stuff like, well, and I take stuff in little inky baby steps. So I love everything you said today because it's all really good, but it is how we buy everything.
But it is. But the thing of it is, I just came out of a stem cell transplant about a year and 2 months ago. So I'm still a little foggy up here from all the medication I'm on. So when I think of something, I have to get it out, because if I don't get it out right away, it's gone. And that's why when you're telling me something, I go, oh, I've got a point. And you keep talking, I might as well walk away. Because I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, as long as you don't forget that you're married to me.
That's right. I won't forget that.
I need to put like a note on the nightstand that says you are very married to Dwan to remind you. Do I need to do that?
I did that to you once.
You did. You did.
A long time ago.
What happened?
I don't know.
You did that.
You were just having a typical day.
No.
No, you were on some medication.
Oh, yeah. It was the first time I ever took steroids. Never had steroids in my whole life. And they made me really loopy, and I was confused about where I was. So I remember talking to you one day. I was like, listen, where are we? Like, whispering,
where are we?
Where are we? And Bill goes, we're in the house. And I was like, no, but where? Like, where in the country?
In Colorado. So.
And he's like, we're in Colorado. We're at our house. And I don't know. These steroids made me like really almost hallucinogenic. It was really. I called the doctor 2 days later. I'm like, am I supposed to be actually hallucinating? And
she's waiting to listen to White Rabbit from Jefferson Airplane. Now,
so he writes on my night. He hangs up a note and he says, "Your name is Dwan Ben Twyford. You are very married to Bill Twyford, and here's where you live. and he hung it and taped it on my
I
nightstand.
did. I did.
And I was like, oh, okay.
So I
Yeah.
thought we're not playing any excuses. I didn't know what I was doing. Thing. So, but I don't understand. They talk about us taking steroids, but I'm not getting big muscles. It must be a different steroid. I'm taking liquid steroids right now, and all it does is just beat up my arms with.
You were doing graft versus host.
I know.
Because there
I
were
know.
steroids for different things. And whatever those were that I took, I literally hallucinated. I was like, oh, these are pretty good. Just pop these things, you hallucinate. Okay, now, before we go.
One thing I want to say before we go, too. These steroids I'm taking brings back my appetite. However, no matter what the heck I eat a dozen donuts and I don't gain weight. So I'm trying really hard to get back about 20 pounds that I lost. I can't get it back. And I must have the what do you call it? Metabolism of a hummingbird.
So I keep saying to him, like, listen, you cannot be talking to a bunch of women and say, no matter what I eat, I can't gain any weight. So that's a surefire way to get killed. Killed in the audience. All right, so before we wrap for the day, a couple of things. Go to
just a second. Hold on. I went to the doctor's today to get some medication, and there's like 10 women standing there, all with the same outfit on. They were nurses. And the elevator door opens. There's already 2 people in there. So I said, come on, ladies, let's go. And they go, I don't think we all fit. Just blurring out of my mouth. I said, come on, let's all get in. None of your butts are that big. And after I got in there, I thought, oh my God, I'm in an elevator with like 10 women. They're just going to kill me in here.
My life right there, folks. Right here. Right here. All right, so I want to read. So I want you to do me a favor. If you had fun today, if you laughed with us, if you loved it, Bill having the pink lipstick, I want you to follow the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I want you to subscribe, and I want you to leave a 5-star review. So I want to read you a couple of reviews. This one says, my favorite real estate podcast. I've been listening to this podcast for a while now, and I always enjoy it. This is an awesome podcast. It has the best content on real estate investing that I've heard thus far. I've been binge listening for the past 2 weeks. That's Joyce Dixon from the United States. So thank you, Joyce. Those are some very kind words. And another one, Barbara Crawley from the United States. It says she provides helpful tips during and at the end of the podcast to help you with your business. She also has a lot of fun, and you learn a lot about real estate investment. So thank you. And if you would like a chance to have me read your 5-star review, you have to leave one.
Did I leave you one?
You give me a 5-star review every day because I'm married to you.
Oh, yeah.
So go to the most Dwanderful real estate podcast ever. Also, Dwanderful.com, and you'll get your free ebook, Flip Your Way to a Fortune. Also, Facebook, Instagram, Dwanderful, and TikTok, Dwantastic. So I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. Do you have a final parting word?
Well, I like the Dwantastic because back in the 80s, you had tanning salons.
I did.
And they were called
Tantastic.
Tantastic.
That's
Isn't
right.
that great?
So there you go. So that's me with all my creative plays on all of my names. So thank you guys for listening today. Like, follow, subscribe, all the fun stuff. And we'll be back next week at the same bat time, at the same bat channel. And remember,
if you see a guy with lipstick,
what's my sign off?
Your sign off is the truth is in the red letters. The truth is in the red letters.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.